Shedeur Sanders is set to start the first preseason game for the Browns, and what does this mean? Well, considering we have injuries to Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel, the man that was drafted above Shedeur Sanders, the Browns have 5 quarterbacks on the team right now, and that is with Joe Flacco, Tyler Huntley they just signed, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and lastly Shedeur Sanders. And this is quite literally a job interview for Shedeur, and it's going to see whether he can actually stay on the team, because now if Shedeur goes and does well, we have to look at a world where Deshaun Watson might come back for the Browns, and they're gonna have to drop someone and or trade someone. Shedeur is the next man up, because we know what Joe Flacco is. He's 40 years old. We know what we're gonna get with him. He's played on many teams, and he's shown that he can at least have the floor that you want in a backup quarterback. Shedeur, we don't know yet. He is drafted very, very low to what people thought he was gonna be, and this is going to be the first time that he can show that he can be not only good on the football field, but an asset to a team. What do you guys think?
The Cleveland Browns have officially named rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders as the starter for their upcoming preseason opener against the Carolina Panthers. The decision comes after days of speculation and internal evaluation, following the team's ongoing quarterback instability. With Dillon Gabriel now benched and key injuries affecting other options on the roster, the Browns are turning to Sanders, who was previously listed as QB4, to take the reins under the lights in Charlotte. This move, while surprising to some, was not entirely unexpected among those closely following the Browns' training camp. Sanders has steadily built momentum during practices, showing composure, accuracy, and maturity in limited reps. Despite being drafted in the later rounds and starting camp behind multiple veteran and younger quarterbacks, he has made the most of every opportunity, often outperforming his peers in closed-session drills and controlled scrimmage environments. The depth chart saw Joe Flacco positioned as the presumptive veteran leader, Kenny Pickett viewed as a possible reclamation project, and Gabriel initially rising as a high-energy developmental arm. But as the weeks progressed, questions began to surface about the legitimacy of the quarterback order. While Flacco's experience was never in doubt, his mobility and arm strength have become clear limitations in the new offensive scheme. Pickett has missed multiple practices due to injuries and has yet to establish consistent rhythm with the receivers. Gabriel, meanwhile, has reportedly struggled with pocket presence and decision-making under pressure, particularly during 2-minute drills and red zone simulations. The Browns' coaching staff initially downplayed the idea of a quarterback controversy, insisting that reps were being distributed based on a strategic plan designed to balance experience and potential. But the optics became increasingly difficult to manage. Sanders, despite being healthy and available, was left working scout team duties while others cycled through more prominent roles. Fans and analysts began to question the rationale, especially as Sanders continued to show flashes of command and precision. What changed the outlook entirely was a string of setbacks within the quarterback room. First, Pickett suffered a lingering lower body issue that removed him from live reps for an extended period. Then, Gabriel reportedly tweaked his hamstring during practice, casting doubt on his short-term availability. With Flacco being preserved for regular season readiness, the Browns were left with limited choices heading into the matchup with Carolina. That opened the door for Sanders. Sources within the organization confirmed that this was not a pre-planned elevation. The coaching staff had hoped to bring Sanders along gradually, keeping him in a developmental lane for the duration of preseason. But the combination of injuries, inconsistent performances from others, and Sanders' own steady improvement forced a reevaluation. Now, he'll start the game on Friday night, a nationally televised stage that could reshape the team's entire quarterback outlook heading into the regular season. For Sanders, it's more than just a start. It's a pivotal chance to validate everything he's shown behind the scenes: accuracy in short yardage situations, calm under pressure, and a growing understanding of NFL-level defensive disguises. The decision to bench Gabriel and elevate Sanders sends a clear message. The Browns are willing to pivot when performance dictates it. The staff has reportedly been impressed by Sanders' command in the huddle and his growing rapport with both starting and backup receivers. His ability to read zone coverage, make anticipatory throws, and extend plays without panic has been noted in recent coaches' meetings. Still, this moment arrives with high stakes. The Panthers' defense, though not expected to play its full starting unit for extended snaps, presents a strong test. Sanders will need to showcase his ability to manage drives, avoid turnovers, and build momentum over multiple series. Even in a preseason context, the implications are significant. If he performs well, the Browns' depth chart could be forced into a permanent realignment. If he struggles, the narrative of inexperience and rawness may resurface. This move also reflects broader internal shifts within the organization. While front office officials initially categorized Sanders as a long-term project, multiple coaches and player development staff have reportedly been advocating for him to get more serious evaluation time. That internal push grew louder after the team's last scrimmage, where Sanders led 2 scoring drives against the second-string defense while Gabriel struggled against the same unit. Friday night now becomes a proving ground. The Browns staff will be watching closely, not just for the stat line, but for the decision-making, pocket mechanics, and overall control of the offense. Sanders will be evaluated on whether he can move the chains efficiently, communicate effectively with the sideline, and manage situational football with poise. He enters the game with minimal chemistry with the first-team offense, having spent most of camp rotating with backups and scout units. That lack of familiarity adds a layer of difficulty, but also heightens the value of whatever success he can generate. A strong outing under those conditions would further validate his readiness. This isn't about hype or legacy. This is about results. And with Gabriel's benching, the Browns have officially acknowledged that Sanders now represents the best option available for this moment. Whether that translates into a long-term starting role remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. He'll get the chance to prove it on Friday on his own merit. The Browns coaching staff is approaching this game with caution and curiosity. Internally, they've emphasized that the depth chart remains fluid, but privately, there's an understanding that Friday's performance could shift priorities. A strong showing from Sanders will intensify the pressure to reevaluate the quarterback room, not just for the remainder of preseason, but heading into Week 1 of the regular season. Among players, the reaction to Sanders' elevation has been largely positive. Several veterans reportedly approached him during this week's practice sessions with words of support. Teammates on the offensive line and wide receiver group have quietly noted his growing confidence and command at the line of scrimmage. In walkthroughs and closed reps, he's displayed solid footwork and awareness, particularly in play action and rollout scenarios. These are details the coaching staff can't ignore. Meanwhile, Gabriel's benching sends a message that development will not be enough to carry a quarterback spot this season. The Browns are under internal and external pressure to win. With a competitive division and a tough opening schedule, the margin for quarterback missteps is shrinking. The staff cannot afford to gamble on inconsistency or hesitation. That makes Sanders' readiness all the more significant. While this opportunity may have come through circumstance, what happens next is entirely in Sanders' hands. The Browns aren't asking him to be perfect, they're asking for composure, consistency, and a glimpse of starting-caliber execution. In NFL preseason games, the final score often means little. But for individual players fighting for their future, every snap is a referendum. For Sanders, every drive will be scrutinized. It's unclear how many series he'll be given. The plan, as of now, is for him to take the opening quarter and potentially rotate into the second. Tyler Huntley, the team's latest signing, may also see time depending on game flow. Huntley's arrival added a new layer to the team's quarterback dynamics. Though the official line is that his signing was about depth and competition, some within the organization suspect it was a strategic move to offset the inevitable momentum shift if Sanders performed too well. Regardless, the situation is now real. Sanders will have the ball in his hands to start the game. The offense will be his to direct. The staff will watch for tempo control, how he handles third-down pressure, and whether he can finish drives. The broadcast crew will dissect his mechanics. Analysts will compare him to the rest of the room. Every throw will count. And the outcome of those first few drives may determine more than just next week's practice schedule. They could determine the direction of the entire Browns season. If Sanders proves capable, the team will face a fundamental decision. Do they ride with what they've discovered, or return to an older model that has already shown its limitations? That choice won't come easy. Loyalty to veterans, politics within the front office, and long-term development plans all play a role. But in football, momentum has a voice of its own, and when a young quarterback steps onto the field and delivers, the entire building feels it. Momentum changes opinions. It changes plans. In the days leading up to the game, Sanders has been calm, focused, and limited in media appearances. He's declined to discuss the quarterback battle publicly, instead choosing to focus on preparation. Coaches have praised his work ethic and noted his growing comfort with the playbook. Though still young, he carries himself with a professional mindset, something that hasn't gone unnoticed by the team's leadership group. Friday night could change everything. It's rare for a rookie quarterback drafted so late to be given this kind of stage, rarer still when that player begins camp as the fourth option and ends up under center to open the preseason. But here it is. Shedeur Sanders has the ball, the offense, and the opportunity. The Browns have made the call, Dillon Gabriel has been benched, and Shedeur Sanders will be the starter against the Panthers. That decision, simple on its surface, may prove to be one of the most consequential moments of this team's season. If Sanders rises to the challenge, the ripple effect will be impossible to contain. Every other quarterback on the depth chart will be viewed through a new lens. Every coaching decision about playing time and snaps will be re-examined, and fans, already vocal online, will begin demanding a larger role for the rookie if he proves capable under pressure. The Cleveland Browns didn't plan for this moment, but the moment has arrived. And now they'll have to live with what happens next. Sanders will take the field in Charlotte under the lights, with every eye watching. If he succeeds, there's no going back. If he struggles, the evaluation continues. But either way, this start marks the end of speculation and the beginning of answers. For now, Shedeur Sanders is the Browns' starting quarterback. What happens next is up to him.